It's called the United Independent Compensatory Code System concept. That doesn't mean a thing until you read the first part of the book, because then the first part of the book will describe what these words mean. Words are supposed to mean something that you can use. But there's a simple supplementary title, a textbook, workbook for thought, speech, and or action for victims of white supremacy. And racism is white supremacy, and white supremacy is racism. There's no other form of racism other than white supremacy. But the white supremacists will tell you there's all kinds of racism out here. That's them talking. And when you listen to them talk, they say things that are not true. This is what they thrive on, things that are not true, and get people to believe things that are not true. Why? Because when you can get people to believe what you say, and what you say is not true, you can control those people forever. And that's what they do. Masters of deceit and masters of destruction. The white supremacists have made the whole world a prison. And that's the way we should look at ourselves, because that's the truth of the matter. Unless I have misobserved something, unless we are not really prisoners. But I have concluded, based on the evidence, we are prisoners of the system of white supremacy. That's what supreme means. We're locked up. We only go where they let us go. We only do what they let us do. Okay, so they distribute in the prison. Think of the whole world as a prison for black people, and that's our prison number. When they look at your color and see that you're a person of color, that's your prison, okay, because they can see it. See, so we're always in prison anywhere we go. There's no such thing as not being in prison if you're black and you're on this planet. If you're on another planet, that's a different story. But if you're on this planet, the white supremacists are in charge of everything that happens to black people on this planet. According to what? Neely Fuller? No, according to all the evidence in all areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. So in direct answer to your question, we can not spend money on a holiday, but the white supremacists, we can take this into account now. We can do that to make a point. But they would just simply say, okay, you didn't spend money on the holidays that I have assigned to you. So what I'll do, I'll just go up on your rent the very next day after the holiday and see how you like that. See, they got all kinds of ways. See, this is what happens when you're a prisoner of war. They got control not of some things, they got control of everything, except once you start breaking out of it by having one thing that you do have some control over, and that is the way that you think. So you can do that, and I wouldn't speak against it. But I'm saying they got other ways of getting to you and getting to the money that we always get from them, because money is not something that just comes here from nowhere. The white supremacists have control of the money that we get, and they also know where that money is going to go because they control where it's going to go. It's the old plantation company store thing. If you work on the plantation, they'll say, or if you're a sharecropper, after the plantation days are over, and you say, okay, we're going to share the crops, okay? So the person that owns the land, the white person, would say, okay, Sam, you get out there and you work the land, and whatever you get out of the land, when I sell it, you will get a quarter out of every dollar, okay? So you say, well, how come I can't get at least half since I'm going to be doing all the work? And say, well, because that's my arrangement. That's the way I want it. That's the way it's going to be, Sam. Now, if you don't like it, take it or leave it. And if you leave it, all you're going to do is go down the road and work for that other white guy who's going to tell you the same thing, because we're partners. Okay, so you take it. But here's what happens. You got that quarter out of the dollar after doing the heavy lifting and all like that. But what he'll do then is say, hey, Now, you going to spend that quarter? And you say, yeah, this is my quarter. I can spend it for what I want to. You can say, yeah, but I own all the stores. So what do you want from my store? And you say, well, I want this and that and the other. And then he says, yeah, but what you want is going to cost 50 cents, and you just have a quarter. And you say, well, I get it on next year's crop. All right? Now, you know what that means. You're going to always be in debt. They know how to do this. Now, we can do these things, to make a point, like boycott holidays and all like that, but we got to understand that we actually have to get rid of the entire system of white supremacy if we're going to straighten out this mess and replace it with a system of justice. And that means a lot of things. We have to have a code for everything. We can do that one thing, but we have to do hundreds of other things along with it in order for the white supremacists to get a real message. And that's why I've tried to do that with the code book. We got to change our behavior and basically our priorities. Because whereas we won't spend money on a holiday, we'll turn right around and buy some drugs and then get busted for the drugs and then go to jail. But we didn't spend money on that holiday. That's what we'll sit in jail and remember. See, the white supremacists work in package deals. They think of everything, not of one thing. They think of every move that a black person is ever going to make.